Hello. All right, let's get adjusted. Sorted. Get in there. Okay, let's set up. There we are. So, let's bring it in a bit. Hey, that's done. Okay, let's find you in here. And then we can get started. Right. Where am I? That's the one. Okay. Just setting up the chat window if anyone's there. Have I got audio? It looks like I do. Okay, we're here. See if I can get a bit more centered. Fiddle around so much. Might move that back so I've got a bit more space here and I'm not so squished. Okay. There we are. Not so glary. I'll wait a couple of minutes. I've got my coffee here, ready to go. Ah, beautiful coffee. There we are. Taking a few minutes to relax. Taking a deep breath in. So I'll get started in case it's one of those days where everyone's busy and no one pops on. You'll be able to hear the replay tomorrow morning on Saturday. So I do the lives on Fridays and then I put them up on Saturdays for people to listen to if they're not available for the live stream. The time here in Sydney is 12:30 in the afternoon. It's just past lunchtime. So for many of you around the world, it may not be an appropriate time. It might be 2 in the morning for you or 3 in the morning or who knows. So that's why I always post up the replay on the following day for those of you who aren't available to be on the live streams. So this week, what has been coming through quite strongly that they want me to share with you is, I'm waiting for the words to come. knowing that we are spirit. Not believing, not thinking, but knowing. When you know in your heart that you are spirit in human form, there's a difference. So what was coming through was from a beautiful comment, and it's also been coming through because of, when my friend passed away. And before it even happened, towards last year, end of the year, it was around Christmas time, I had a vision, I had a dream, and I saw them, and I already saw her passed away. And I saw her partner, and I could feel in that dream his intense grief at her passing. And that was coming through a lot, When you awaken and you know within yourself that you are spirit, having a human experience, it's okay when your partner leaves. It's okay when your children leave. It's okay when your parents pass away. It's more than okay, because you know in your heart that it's all spirit, all the time. That's all that's ever happening. It is all spirit. Your parents, spirit. Your children, spirit. Even your beautiful pets, our pets that we love so much, are spirit. It's all spirit. It's all energy. And when it is done playing here in this realm, hello Victor! When it is done playing here in this realm, it returns to the spirit realm where it came from. It doesn't just disappear. So I'll get rid of that. It's blocking my, So this is what's been coming through a lot in the last 2 weeks since my friend passed. That we are spirit, how connected we are. One of the things I was shown was that I've had many, many lifetimes with this friend that just passed, and I didn't know that before. I thought it was just something from this lifetime. And then when she passed, I was shown that I've had so many lifetimes already with this friend. And in this lifetime, I actually came in to be her carer when she had a disability. And it wasn't until she passed that I realized we were friends. I didn't even realize we were friends. It just happened, over the years. This beautiful friendship was created between us. There was an understanding, a trust. Hello, Desiree. Good morning. Or afternoon for you. Yeah? I'm thinking it's lunchtime here. I'm trying to think what time in the world, but I think you guys are nighttime there. So Thursday night, if I remember. So if I remember correctly. So, yes. How's your week been? How have you two been this week? Are you feeling better, Victor? I think you said you were a bit under the weather the last time. Evening. Yes. Good evening. I'm having my coffee boost. Oh, okay. I'll let you eat then. I'll keep talking. If you don't mind. Or if you don't care, it's all right. So you guys can enjoy whatever is coming through for today or this week. Sometimes we start the week with one idea and then we feeling better. Yes, it's always better when you're feeling better, isn't it? It's like, ugh. When I had my lumps removed and I couldn't stop coughing, I was like, oh, I'm so over this human experience. I spent about 4 or 5 days, I couldn't stop coughing. Oh, dear. Yeah, so I know what it's like. It's like, oh, when will this ever end? I just want to go back to feeling normal again. So, yeah, it's so fun being human and all the things we get to go through. So the beauty of connecting to your higher self, to that knowing that you are spirit, is that you no longer need to be afraid of anything. You know, there is no fear of your death. There's no fear of any death. You know, it was only, I didn't realize, I think it was in the last year or so that I woke up one day. Oh, no, I remember. I had to take my daughter to the hospital and they thought she had something to do with the appendix. And so we went in, and it was the first time I went into hospital for anything. And I was really calm throughout the whole thing, thinking that, well, whatever it is, it is. There's nothing I can do about it. You know, it's not in my hands. It's not, I can't control the outcome, whatever's going to happen, you know. And as I'm sitting with her in the hospital and I'm thinking, how old was she then? She would have been about 10, I think, the last time I went to hospital with her. And I just remember thinking, well, if this is it, if something happens and she passes, I'm going to miss her terribly. You know, I can't deny it. My human experience, I would miss her presence. You know, seeing her every day, seeing her smile, being able to hug her every day and tell her how much I love her. All of that part of my human experience, I would miss so much. But I also knew that if it was her time, that I was okay with that, that was what it was meant to be. She was meant to be here for that time, and that was it. There was nothing I could do about it. So the whole time I'm with her, there's this gratitude in my heart for the 10 years that I already had with her. Up until that point, I just took those 10 years for granted. You know, I never stopped to really be grateful that at any moment that can be taken away. We don't stop to think that, ever. With our partners, with our children, with our parents, with everything. In any moment, that can change. That reality can change. And that person is no longer there, that being. You know? So I think for me, there's a strong sense of that in my life. Because when I was 12 years old, my dad had his first heart attack. And there was so much fear around my dad passing at the time. You know, that he was going to pass away and he was the main breadwinner. And what were we going to do? And there was this intense stress and fear in my household, you know, of what was going to happen if my dad died. What would happen? For me, personally, I was very close to my dad. You know, after my sister was born, he was like my lifesaver, if you like. You know, when you're in the ocean and they throw you that lifesaver and you float with that device, that was my dad. You know, that's what was keeping me sane in this reality. You know, his love, he was like a rock in my life. He was my rock. You know, he was constant. He was always there with his beautiful unconditional love. So to me, losing him was like losing my whole world. He was my world. You know, I just adored my dad growing up. And from that moment, I had this in me that every moment's precious because we don't know. Every moment's precious, you know, to tell our loved ones that we love them, to be present with our loved ones when we're with them. You know, it's funny, since my friend passed away 2 weeks ago, I see my husband differently. I just look at him differently. I see things that I didn't notice before. More deeply, I think is the word. You know, I notice him more. Same with my daughter. Although I was really present with her before, there's a deeper awareness when I'm around her. There's a deeper presence, a level of presence. You know? And we can have that all the time. That presence with our loved ones. You know? To be with them when they're speaking to us, to be fully present, not thinking, oh, I've got to do this and I've got to do that and I've got to do the other. Yes, a lot of the time I'm in that state, and my daughter knows, because I'll be in the middle of creating a course or I'll be in the middle of writing a book. Oh, and we have this funny story I'm going to share with you today with my daughter. Because every time she tells me that story, we just crack up and we can't stop laughing. And it's just the funniest thing. One day I was in the middle of, I'm trying to think, I think it was You Can Change Your Past. And I was almost at the end of it. And I was just really honed in, really focused on that chapter because I was towards the end and I was almost finished, you know. And the words were coming, they were flowing. And so I'm in the zone of receiving this beautiful download, and I'm writing and I'm writing. And she taps me on the shoulder because we have a room where I have my computer in front of me here and she has her computer next to me there, right? So she taps me on the shoulder as I'm writing and she said something to me. And I stopped writing, but the download was still coming in. So I said to her, "What?" And she repeated it. And so I asked her one more time. I said, "What?" And she repeated it a third time. And I just said, "Yep, I love you too." And I kept writing. And it wasn't until later that we were in the car and I was taking her to school and I was off to work that she said to me, "Mum, what was all that about?" And I said, "What?" And she said to me, she said, "I asked you for a rubber and you said, 'I love you too.'" You know? And to this day, she still brings that up, you know, and we still laugh so much about it, you know, that all she wanted was a rubber because she was doing some maths homework and she'd made a mistake and she couldn't find one. So, an eraser, you know. So she'd asked me for one and I was so engrossed in what I was doing that after 3 attempts of trying to switch off and listen to her, I gave up and just said, "Yep, I love you too." And to this day, whenever we're in that mood, that, you know, silly mood, that's what we say to each other. "Yep, I love you too," when we can't be bothered listening to each other. But she doesn't understand. I haven't gone through the process of explaining to her that when I'm, yeah, I know, right? When I'm in that process, it's like you're plugged in, like you're in the middle of a fitness workout. So imagine, for those of you fitness junkies out there, you're on the bike, you know, the bike, that one, the stationary bike that doesn't move, and you've been in there for like 15, 20 minutes. Oh yeah, she's gorgeous. And you know, you're in the zone, and then you get a phone call that you have to go do something and you have to stop. Don't you feel jolted? Like, oh, but I was like, I hadn't finished. You know, I'm in the zone. That's how I feel. It's hard to explain when I'm receiving a download, but it's like all of my senses are just engrossed in that. Everything. Like my hearing, my sight, it's all laser focused on what I'm receiving. And it's kind of like I forget there's a world around me, you know? And so when I am interrupted for whatever reason, I find it really hard to come out of that state because it's like a meditative state. It's hard to explain, but it's like a deep meditation. And when you're in there, it's hard to come out. I guess almost like when you're in a really deep part of your sleep at night, you know, and they're trying to wake you up because something's happened and you need to wake up. It's that sort of, it's like a trance. You're stuck in it. You can't get out. But, oh my God, that day was so funny. I love you too. And she didn't say anything after that. She was like, she just sat there going, what was that? You know, what just happened? And it wasn't until we were in the car that I was, you know, switched off because now I had to go off to work and that was done. Then she said to me, "Mum, what was that? You know, I'm asking you for a rubber and you say I love you too." She said, "You know, way to go to pay attention when I'm talking to you." Oh, she's so funny. So I get that back a lot, you know, when she's in the middle of something and I'm trying to talk to her and she's like, "Yeah, well, how does it feel?" You know, how does it feel? Because you do it to me all the time. But, you know, when she was little and I would take her up to the playground, up to the park to play on the equipment up there, there's swings and, you know, slides and all sorts of things for little ones to play. I would be up there with her and I would always be present. We would play so many games together. We would make up games, you know. But I would look around and there'd be heaps of mums sitting, staring at their phones. And their children would be playing. And I'd be like, "But you're missing out. You know, you're too busy with your phone. You're missing out. Life is happening right here. You know, you're not going to get this back. There might be a really special moment. Something might happen that's really special and you're going to miss it because you're so busy on your phone." Are you finding it easier to connect, meditate, and change in the energy? I'm going to read that again. Hang on. Are you finding it easier to connect, meditate, and change in the energy? I actually find it's very similar to when I do the meditations here on YouTube. When I get into doing the meditations, especially when I call in the angels, yeah, there is definitely a shift in the energy, for sure, when I'm in that state. Because I'm no longer engrossed in this physical reality, you know? It's not a disconnect from it. Oh, in the energy lately, I can't say that I have. But then, I've been so busy creating the courses and trying to get them up and running, that I've been like laser focused on that. I've been, so focused on getting that up and running on the website. And I'm like that. That's just my nature. It's just my personality. When I get it in my head that something needs to be done like that, it's not like for everything, because if you see my house, you'll know that, well, I'm not like that with housework. Anyone will tell you that. There'll be dust in my corners and I don't care. For me, that's not priority. But I get in that state when I'm writing books. Any of these books, if I'm in the middle of that process, there's always inside me this urgency that it may be the last one and someone may need that information. Always. This last book, the Be the Rainbow, was the first book that I got to the end, and I don't feel a rush inside of me to send it to the publisher yet, because then I got bombarded with all this information for the courses. And honestly, I have grown, I have expanded so much from the beautiful courses that I've done, and I know what is possible. An energy change. Any thoughts? The energy change I feel is, for me, the energy change is within people. I'm noticing there's more and more people awakening, more and more people talking about spirit and spiritual things, than before. There is a spiritual awakening happening. And when that happens, the energy shifts, because we are energy. So if there are more of us awakening. And when you awaken, collectively, yes, when we awake, I can't remember who said it, but I do remember reading on Facebook in a few different posts, people were talking, and the first time I read it, I felt a definite yes within my system, that's it. The post was that Jesus Christ is not coming back the second time as an individual, the way he did the first time, an individual being. The second time around is going to be this Christ consciousness. It's going to be a collective consciousness, people waking up, and it's going to be huge, And what happens is, as an individual awakens, their energy shifts, because when you begin to awaken and you go through the beautiful process of forgiveness, and that's why I created it, and you go through the beautiful process of loving your anger, of loving your fear, all the stuff that I've been, they've given me all this information to create. When you release all of that out of your system, you release all this density and your energy elevates. There's an elevation, there's an expansion, it's lighter. You can't help but be lighter, because you no longer have all these heavy energies within your system, this density that this creates. When we can't forgive, when we're holding on to grudges, when we're angry, that creates density within us, creates heaviness. You feel it in your system. It makes you feel tired. It makes you feel yuck. I know, because that was me for so long. Feeling like that, like, oh, does it ever get any better? And I remember you always feel tired because there's such heavy energies. They're so dense, So when you start to release all of that out of your system, you feel lighter. Your energy is lighter. You have more energy. Why do you have more energy? Because your energy is no longer attached to those things. You've released it. You've detached it. See, we are energy. We're energetic beings. And where we place our attention, where we focus, is where we are placing our energy. Today I listened to someone who was saying that in the times, this constitution was being drawn up by the energy, was 80% spiritual and 20% not. She said it has flipped in past years. Oh, okay. I don't know anything about that. I can't talk about things I don't know about or I haven't been given information about. All I know is how I know I can feel it in my energy. And I also know when I connect to my spirit team, it's an even higher energy. Yes, to go back to those levels again. And love will always show you the way. When you're not sure, ask, what would love do here? How would love respond here? And then look at it. You know, is it really love or is it fear? Because so many of our actions, of our words come from fear. You know, of things that haven't made us feel safe up until now, or things that have hurt us. And this fear is trying to protect you from getting hurt again. It's protecting you because when you were a child, you didn't feel safe. You know, that fear's there for a reason. It's not there for no reason. It doesn't just, you know, all of a sudden, oh, you've got it, but nothing happened, you know, and all of a sudden you're afraid. No, things happen, and many times they happen repeatedly, and it creates the fear, or it creates the pain, or whatever it is that you're dealing with, these lower densities, you know. But we come to experience, you know, the more I think about it, the more I meditate on it and I ask for information, we come to have those experiences. Because without them, we can't relate to others that have been through it. How can you help someone, assist someone? How can you relate if you've never had that experience? You know? I spent 15 years waiting to have my daughter, and towards the end, my husband and I were like, this is just not going to happen. Without that experience, I couldn't understand what every other woman in that IVF clinic was feeling. As we're sitting there waiting to have our first appointment. We all knew what we've been through. We've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and it's just not happening. And the feelings of hopelessness and despair and all those other feelings that come from having this dream that one day you'll be a parent, and then never happens. It's just not happening. For no reason, because we had all the tests done with my husband and there was no reason. They couldn't find one reason that we weren't falling pregnant. You know, the whole experience I had with my mum in my childhood, the fear I felt towards my mum, all of that, all these experiences that we have on a human level, we have it, and it helps us to connect to others that are having the same experience. And when we get to awaken, if that is what our soul chose to do in this lifetime, as we awaken and we see the beauty of what it is we're doing here, then we're in a different space that we can assist others towards their light. You know, without that, you know, how many times do you hear that? Oh, how would you know? You've never been through this. This didn't happen to you. How would you know how it feels? How would you know if you haven't been through it? You know, how do we know what it feels like to lose your parents at the age of 5? You wake up one day and you're 5 years old and both of your parents are gone. That's it, gone. I will never know what that feels like, ever. That's an experience my mum came to have. And it's through those experiences that we can connect to others that are going through the same or similar experiences. It connects us in a different way to someone that's just trying to help but has never been through it. You know? I usually find people that go into certain things, like people that are, you know, really, what do you call it? When they really want to help, say, for example, with breast cancer awareness or whatever it is, It's either they've been through it or they've had a family member that's been through it and it's affected them somehow. And so now they want to get involved and they want to help and they want to make a difference, you know, but it's through our experiences. We are guided. This is what's happened to me. How can I serve others with this knowledge, with this experience? This is what we can do with what we've been given, you know? And when we awaken and we learn how to heal and how to resolve and how to release the fear, the anger, the pain, all those lower densities, we show others that it's possible for them too. You know, it's possible because I'm just like you. You know, and you can feel the energy is different within these beings. You can see their light is a little bit brighter. You can see it, you can feel it, and you're drawn to it like a moth to the flame. You're drawn to it. Why? Because you know that if it's possible for them, it's possible for me too. So, the energy shift will come when enough people awaken, when enough people remember that they are spirit in human form. There's a shift that happens within when you go from thinking, not sure, and then the knowing. Oh, that's what I'm doing here. So I came to have all those experiences. I was meant to do all that. Oh, okay. Now, what can we do with that knowledge? What can we do with the wisdom that we've gained? What can we do with it? How can we serve? For me, it's how can we serve others? Always. And I've been like that since I was really little. I'd be on a bus or on a train and I would see people and they would look, you know, upset. Or they'd look worried, or I could see it in them. They didn't look happy. And even then, quite little, at the age of 5 and 6, I always felt like, I want to do something. How can I help? And if they'd look up, I'd always smile because I thought if I smile and they smile back, maybe that will remind them that that joy is inside them still, no matter what they're going through. That joy doesn't go anywhere. They still have that inside. From so little, I would smile at people and then I'd get in trouble with my mum. You know, stop doing that. Stop looking at people. Stop staring. It's rude. All these things. You know, she was just trying to keep me safe because I don't know, I just had a love for people. I was just fascinated by people. You know, their behaviors or understanding what they were going through. What are they going through? Why are they suffering? What's going on? You know, and can we do anything? Is there anything I can do? I can smile. That's all I got. I'm only 5. I can smile. That was it. That's all I had. But 9 times out of 10, because you're a kid, because you're so little, they would smile back. You know, it was just a really nice feeling to see them smile back. And in that moment, you're connected. For 1 second, you're connected energetically. You know, I didn't know it then, that it was energy. I know it now. So, and you'll notice it when you start to awaken, or if you've had an awakening, even the beings around you are affected. You don't even realize it, but everything around you changes. Your children, your partner, everything changes. You affect everything. You don't realize it. But in you, shifting your energy from the lower densities to the higher density, you know, the higher vibrations of unconditional love, of joy, of peace, all of those beautiful, beautiful vibrations. Everything around you is affected. You know, for a long time, I couldn't understand as a grown-up. Before, way before my daughter was born, I'd be at the park and, young children would come up, little ones would come up and start telling me their stories. And I would be like, I'd go home later scratching my head thinking, why are they telling me, what's what they did that morning, or what they're playing with, or why do they want me to come and play with them? It was just really bizarre. But with time, I realized that the little ones are still in quite a high frequency until they've been through all the experiences that they came to have. And then their vibration, becomes denser with all these lower densities that we come to experience. They're already at a high frequency, so they could already feel my high frequency of unconditional love, and they would be attracted to that, So, so many times I'd come home thinking, what was that about? Why did they have to come and tell me, what they're doing, or what happened this morning, or what happened yesterday, or it was just really strange. I felt like a female Santa Claus, sitting on the bench there, and the kids come up and tell you what they want for Christmas. And I'd be like, oh, I just want to sit here for a minute. I've been on a long walk and I just want to sit amongst the trees. Anyway. But it's been like that forever. And we have that capacity. It's within us when we choose it to shift our energy from the lower densities, to the higher vibrations. It's not for everyone. Not all of us are here on that path. Not all of us are here for that. And so you have to honor your path, and just be grateful for whatever it is that you're going through. It's what you're meant to be going through. It's not good or bad, and it's not right or wrong. It's just your human experience. It's about owning it, When you get angry, just get angry. Just, enjoy that experience. With my beautiful friend in New Zealand now, we go through these sharings, of, oh my God, I was so angry yesterday, I got stuck in traffic and blah, 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 and I'm, and she'll do the same, she'll be in a situation and something will happen and this anger flares up, and then she'll just have a wally for that moment, and it's done. If we just acknowledge the feelings as they come up, it would be so easy. But for most of my adult life, that's not what I did. I bottled it up because we weren't allowed to show anger. We weren't allowed to express it. And so what you do, when you don't like something, you bottle it up. And then I would find with the first partner that I had, my first relationship that I had, that we were together for about 8 years. And after the second or third year, there'd be a moment where you explode. You can't hold it forever. There'd be a moment where you would just lash out. And then you'd be spitting out all this stuff that happened 3 or 4 years ago. And your partner'd be like, what? What are you talking about? And it's because you haven't allowed yourself to express it in that moment. Let it out. When it happened. If you did it then, it would take 2 minutes to have this discussion and it's over with. But you bottle it up and you bottle it up and you bottle it up. And the next thing you know, 4 years later, you're yelling at your partner about something that happened 4 years ago and 3 years ago. And all of it comes like an avalanche. I remember those big fights where you'd be for days, just vomiting out all this stuff that was in your system, of all these things that they'd done that you were unhappy about, that upset you or that hurt you or whatever. Oh my God, what fun times. And then with my husband, which was my second partner, he knew pretty early on, he'd be like, what's up? And I'd be like, we'd go through something and I'd be upset. And I'm pretty transparent. You can tell straight away if I'm upset, if I'm happy. I don't, it's kind of hard for me to hide what I'm feeling. And so he'd say to me, what's up? And I'd be like, nothing. And he'd be like, no, your face doesn't say nothing. Your face says there's something up. And so he would push and push and push and push and poke me, until I'd just go, bleh. And then he'd go, see, was that so hard? And I'd be like, no, but I didn't want to talk about it. I just want to be angry about it and I want to bottle it up because that's what I've learned to do for the past 20 years, right? We weren't allowed to express it. And so it was through him more than anything else that I learned that it's okay. He's still going to be there at the end of the day. You know, if the person loves you, if they're meant to be with you, they're not going to just go out the door over the first fight that you're going to have, or the first discussion, or the first debate, or whatever you want to call it, when you don't agree on something. You know, you're not meant to agree on everything. Otherwise, that would be pretty boring too. You know, if you had a partner and everything's yes, everything's okay, everything's yes, whatever you want, there's no, you know, discussion on anything. You're not being challenged in any way to look at things differently. Because that's what I love the most about my husband, that he sees things so differently. And I get to see different angles of everything that I'm looking at. You know, always challenging, always pushing. You know, why is it like that? Or why do you believe that? Or who said that? That's his favorite thing to say. Who said that? And then we'd be like, I don't know. Where did that come from? I don't know. You know, and then you sort of sit there and scratch your head and you think, yeah, where did that come from? Why do I keep saying something that I don't even know where it came from? You know? And so we have the most wonderful conversations, but it's always from the challenging point of view of making you look at things in a different way, not just the way I've always looked at it, you know? So, yeah. Anyway, so today, with the week that you've had, did you guys want a meditation? If so, what would today's meditation be about? Yes, exactly. From his, and yeah, and we've had completely different upbringings, you know, and I think a lot of times it's for that reason as well. And I feel, in a sense, so grateful because growing up, my parents were already so opposite. Mum was full-on Catholic and dad was an atheist, you know, and my mum was all for conflict, you know, and rocking the boat, so to speak, and my dad was all for peace and walk away whenever there was conflict. That was so opposite, you know. So I already grew up in a house like that where there were opposites, you know, opposite perspectives in so many things. And so I got to see the world in different ways of, you know, I'd go and ask mum one thing and she'd say, oh, well, this is the way it is. And then I'd go ask dad and he'd be like, no, you know, this is the way it is. And then I'd make up my own mind. Well, hang on, what if it's neither that way or that way? You know, because to me, neither of them seemed right anyway, or wrong, or... So I'd sit there a lot of the times thinking, well, what if neither of them is right and neither of them is wrong and there's a different way? You know, I'd always be like, what if there's a different way? Because the beauty of mum and dad as well is that neither of them put each other down. They always respected what the other one thought or said, you know, in front of us anyway. If they went off and had their conversations of, you know, I think the only time mum said no was when dad was saying, I'm trying to think how old I was. I think I was about 10, which means my sister would have been about 5 years old. And he was telling us all about death, you know, and his lovely view on death, that they stick your body in a box and they nail the box shut and they make a hole in the ground. And this was how my dad was describing it, right, to us. And then they throw you into the ground and they cover you up with the dirt. And then the worms eat you. That was it. That was his end of the story. The worms eat you. And that's the end. And we're both sitting there like that, you know, staring at him with these big eyes of the worms eat you. And my mum was like, don't tell them that. It's not true. It was so funny. Because like I said, my mum was a devout Catholic. And so don't tell them that. And my dad was like, what? It's the truth. And she's like, you don't know that. And he's like, well, that's what I think anyway. And so, you know, and then mum would take us to church every Sunday. And of course at church, in Catholic church, they teach you something completely different, that there was a heaven and there's a hell. And, you know, death is a very different experience to what my dad thought, that, you know, worms eat you and the end, we're done. So that was really funny. But I was really blessed with my partner that I have now, because he's an atheist. And he's really engrossed in his beautiful human experience. But he's, there's just something about him that I feel since I've been with him, that he brings out the best in me, you know. So many times I resist, you know, what he's trying to bring out. But then when I give in, I always realize at the end it was for my highest and greatest good. Always. Like when he used to push me and poke me and what's wrong? What's wrong? Just say it. It doesn't matter how it comes out. And the first few times that he would do that, in the first couple of years, it would come out as yelling, because I didn't know how to express anger without yelling, without, you know, being upset. Everything would come out as a yell towards this poor man. And then with time, I've learned, okay, we can have this discussion and I don't need to be yelling anymore, because I know that I can express myself with him, you know, and I don't need to hold it back and throw it in his face 3 or 4 years later. You know, I can tell him on the spot, look, this is, yeah, I don't like this. This is annoying me, or I don't like this. And we'll have a discussion, you know. And it's been wonderful. You know, in the first few years, I was like, oh, you kind of feel like a cat. You know, when you rub a cat the wrong way and the hairs go up and the tail goes up and the cat looks really frazzled? I looked like that, I think, in the first 2 or 3 years of our relationship. But with time, I saw that it was a gift. You know, every time he was pushing me to express myself, to just let it out, it was a gift that he was giving me, you know, that I was okay. I can say no, I don't like it, I don't want it, I don't, you know. Between him and my mother-in-law, I learned how to say no. I don't want to do it, I don't want it, I don't like it. I didn't know how to say that before them. You know, I think I was 25 when I started with my husband. I didn't know how to say no. I don't like it. No, I don't want it. No, I don't want to do that. No. I didn't know how to say the word no, you know. And so many times before that, I felt obligated to do things, and I would do them. And I would do them in a huff, you know, upset. I don't want to do this. I feel obligated, you know, just because you've done it for me, and now I feel like I have to do it for you. You know, you've obligated me, but it's not something that I want to do. So, yeah. Everything in our life is there for us. You know, everything is there for us. When you open your heart and you look at it for what it is, you know that it is love, loving you in every moment through all these people. You know, it is spirit. It's all spirit. So spirit talks to me through my husband all the time. And I realized that the first time when he said to me that you're looking at your mother like you're 5 years old. And that comment was the reason I wrote the very first book, Your Past is a Gift. And that came from my husband. Spirit works through my daughter. The amount of things that she has assisted me in letting go. And she was the reason I woke up in the first place. My first awakening happened with her. Spirit used her to wake me up. That the love that I was looking for was not in her. Yes, I love her. I adore her. I would give my life for her to live on. I know I'm going to be waiting for her when she's done. You know, I'm not afraid of dying. But when you look at every being that's been in your life, when you really, really look at it through the eyes of love, you will always see a gift. You'll always see that you've been gifted by that person in one way or another. Always. Always. Spirit is working through all of these beautiful beings. As Spirit is working through you as well to gift to them. Always. In every moment. Even when we think, you know, for so long I would feel bad, or I'd feel guilty that what I said hurt someone or offended someone, or until one day I was given that beautiful information. That person needed me to say that. They needed that for their human experience. if they still believe that they're not worthy of love, they still believe they're not good enough somehow, those words gave them an opportunity to see in that moment, hang on a minute, I am worthy. I am good enough. And believe me, that if you are not the one telling that person, Spirit will find others to do that. Because that is serving that person's experience always. If that person is believing in some way that they're not good enough, just as I wasn't good enough to be with my first boyfriend. In my heart, I felt that I wasn't good enough. I wasn't pretty enough. I wasn't smart enough. I just wasn't good enough for his love. And there was no one that was going to convince me otherwise. And the reason I had that replaying in my head over and over and over again was because I wasn't good enough for my mother's love to start with. And so what happens? You take on this pattern of, oh, I'm not good enough for my mother's love. And you take that pattern and then it goes into another person. And so now I have a boyfriend. But wait, I'm not good enough for my boyfriend's love either. And this pattern will keep replaying over and over and over until you learn the lesson that you are more than worthy of love. You are more than worthy. You are love. You're made of it. And that's just one lesson. You know, there's hundreds and hundreds of lessons that we come here to explore. So, pay attention. Those around you, the ones talking to you, giving you messages all the time. All the time. They're pointing to you, to what it is that you're believing, to what it is that you're thinking about yourself. Always about yourself, not about others. About you. It's always about you. And so with my beautiful daughter, that was the lesson that I began to learn. And my mum cemented that lesson 2 years ago when I went to see her, and I yearned so much for my mother's love. And I thought if I was the love, and I showed her nothing but love, that she would finally love me. And then recently I was having a conversation with my friend in New Zealand, and I realized, that was love with conditions. What I was giving my mother was love with conditions. That if I can love you with all my heart, then you have to love me back. That is not unconditional love. Unconditional love says, I love you. I love you just as you are. I don't need anything in return. Because I am the love, and I know you are the love. And we're good. It's allowing that person to have their experience. Loving someone doesn't mean they need to love you back. That's conditions. That's not unconditional love. That's conditions. I love you only if you love me back. I mean, you know, you don't have to look that far. Look at your dog. For those of you that have dogs, does your dog care if you love it back or not? Honestly, I can walk out the door 1,000,000 times in the day and come back, and they're always happy to see me. Whether I respond to them, whether I say hi, whether I walk in grumpy and ignore them, They don't need me to love them back. They just love me. That's it. Dogs are showing us always, in every moment, what unconditional love looks like. Yell at a dog. The dog still loves you. Scream at the dog. Hit the dog. Don't feed the dog. Abuse the dog. The dog will always love you. That's mine. I go out to put the garbage outside. It's just outside the door and I come back in. It's like, oh my God, she's back. We thought you were going. God, they're so funny, but they are an expression of unconditional love if ever there was one. They're just so hysterically funny. A dog, whether you talk to it or you don't, whether you acknowledge it's there or you don't, the dog will love you. Whether you feed it or you don't. I forgot to feed them this morning and I still came home and they were excited to see me like, oh, she's back. You know, we love you. And the dog always looks at you with this admiration in their eyes, like they adore you. It's not even just love, they adore you, you know. So, you know, you want to know what unconditional love looks like. Always look at a dog. You want to know what peace looks like? Look at a cat. A cat will go out of its way to move away from chaos and the things that disturb its peace. That's why I love cats. If you ever... Toes are good. No. You know, whenever you're around a cat for some reason, you instantly feel at peace. At least for me. You know, I know there are cats that are super feral, but I usually find the ones that are super hypo, it's because the owners are. There's a lot of stress in the environment. And animals pick up on the energy that's going on, you know. If the energy in the environment is very frenzied, very stressed, very chaotic, the animals take on that energy, you know, and you'll find that a cat or a dog in that environment will be, you know, the whole time because they take on the energy of the owners. But for the most part, when we've had cats with my husband, they're so at peace. They're so zen, you know, and that's what I love about cats. If you ever want to know what peace looks like, sit with the cat for a day, especially out in the sun. They love sitting out in the sun. You just sit with the cat. I promise you, you'll be at peace by the end of the day. You know, they're just so chill. And then at nighttime, they'll be, you know, crawling the walls because they're sort of night creatures. They like playing at nighttime. But yeah, for me, that were the two things I learned. From the dog, unconditional love. And from a cat, peace. You know, that's, they treasure their peace more than anything else. And if you do anything, you turn on the vacuum cleaner, boom, they're at the door. You know, the cat, whew, gone. A dog will put up with it. She'll try and eat the vacuum, you know, when I'm vacuuming, my dog now. Because I don't think she likes the noise. They probably find it too noisy. But a cat will instantly move. It'll be like, nah, you've disturbed my peace. I'm out of here. Goodbye. I'll come back when it's quiet again. You know, they're just so gorgeous. I love animals. But yeah, in any moment, you know, it wasn't until my friend said that about my mum that I thought, oh, she's so right. That wasn't unconditional love. I went over there thinking that I was this unconditional love, that I loved them so much that all I wanted was for them to know that I loved them. But I came back upset. If it was unconditional love, I wouldn't have come back upset that I couldn't change anything, that I couldn't... what I was upset about was that I couldn't ease their pain. You know, that they thought that I had been a bad daughter, that I had wronged them and all of that. And no matter how much I apologized, I couldn't make it up to them. They didn't want to hear it. And so my upset was that I couldn't ease their pain. That's all I wanted while I was there. But that's conditions. That's still conditions. You know, that if they behave the way I want them to behave, oh, now it's all good. You know, the world's a happy place again. That's not unconditional love. That's not accepting things as they are. Accepting people as they are, not what we want them to be or how we think they should be. That's conditions. Love is accepting the person as they are, with all their flaws, you know, exactly as they are. And I don't know about flaws because what's flaws? Imperfections. I'm trying to think of a better word, imperfections, because what they have is perfect for their human experience. You know, who they are is because of their human experience. So it's not imperfection, it's just who they are. And we are different, we see differently, we think differently. Why? Because we've had different experiences, not the same. And sometimes people will have the same experience and yet come out completely different because they're looking at that experience in a different way, from a different perspective, not the same. So today, what's been coming through a lot for me lately is elevating our beautiful vibration, you know, because I know that's the reason for all the courses. What they've given me to share with everyone is for those, and perhaps that is the way this is all going, you know, that we are here to elevate our vibrations, our frequencies into a higher state. Maybe it's time to start experiencing different things. Maybe we, as humans, we've had enough of the lack and scarcity. We've had enough of the stress, of the doubt, of the worry, of all those lower vibrations. You know, maybe we've been doing that for so long, we're done with it now. And we're moving into higher vibrations, different experiences. The main reason it was coming through was as I was thinking of this lovely partner, you know, that his wife passed away 2 weeks ago, and his grief. And how we seem to think that when our partner is gone, lifelong partners, you know, that's it. There's nothing left to live for. But often I think, what if, and this is a big what if that person left early to give you a chance to connect, to remember, to awaken? While I was with my first boyfriend, all of my focus was on him, on his needs, on what he wanted, because that's what I was taught in our culture, that's what the woman does in a relationship. It's our duty to make sure that our partner is satisfied. They have everything they need, everything they want. We are there to feel their needs, so to speak. This is what I grew up with, because this is the example my mum was setting at home, right? That everything she did was for my dad, that he came first, that he was priority, above, way above her needs. And so that's how I took on the first relationship, that, well, his needs were first. He was more important, what he needed, what he wanted. I was there to provide, to fill his needs, whatever he wanted. But that relationship failed. It didn't work. If I was still in that relationship, none of these books would have been written, because I would still be serving his needs, the needs of one person. I probably wouldn't have awakened, because my focus, my energy was always on him. So sometimes these relationships fail, or this person leaves, however that is, whether they pass away or they just leave. And it creates an opening for us, an opportunity for you to find yourself, for you to awaken. While we focus on others, becoming self-aware is not possible. Your energy is on another being. Yes, I know. There's a reason. Always. It wasn't meant to be. Wasn't meant to be. I know that. But I always see it as an opportunity, you know, that this person has. Sometimes I feel that a being will leave first, like when it's parents, you know, you have your mum and your dad. And sometimes, if, say, for example, you have unresolved issues with your mum, sometimes your dad will pass away first and give you this time where it's just your mum, and now you can focus on her, focus on resolving those issues. There's always opportunities, you know, either for that, for your soul to resolve between you, the unresolved issues, or that it's pointing it back to you, that perhaps your experience is to awaken, to find yourself, to experience heaven on earth, to know what that is, to be fully aware that you are spirit, having this human experience, and being able to see the love that is in everything. It's such a beautiful space. So, my beautiful beings, if you're happy to, we can do a meditation today to elevate. I've got Metatron wanting to come in today, and we'll see where it leads. I'll allow him to guide the meditation and see where we go. Because all week I've been feeling this beautiful elevation, this releasing of the old, you know, the old frequencies, the old densities. Sometimes there's a fear of letting go because we're already familiar with that. You know, even though we've been doing it for a long time, and even though it doesn't make us completely happy, we're familiar with it. We know how to live with that. And so there's a fear that kicks in that we're walking into the unknown. We don't know what's there if we let go of this. But it's all spirit. And the magic that unfolds when we let go is so beautiful. That's why I'm here every week with all these beautiful videos, with these live streams. Because I know what's on the other side of letting go. So, my beautiful beings, let's close our eyes. I'm going to shut down the other computer because it's overheating and making too much noise now. All right, we'll close our eyes and take a deep breath in, and we'll see where the meditation takes us today. I wonder where we'll go. So take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, let go of your day, let go of everything. Take another deep breath in, and as you exhale, relax your body, let go, feel your muscles relaxing, everything relaxing. One more deep breath in, and with this deep breath, as we exhale, we let go of the mind. We don't need the mind where we're going. We're here to engage the heart. It knows the way. So feeling your feet like roots of a tree, going deep down into the center of the earth. And through those roots, we're going to breathe in the beautiful earth energy now. In through your feet, up through your body, and out through the top of your head. Take another deep breath in now. In through your feet, up through your body, and out, out, out through the top of your head. One more time, breathing in the beautiful earth energy in through your feet, up through your body and out through the top of your head. Let's sit for a moment with this beautiful earth energy inside of us. Feel how much the earth loves you. Feel the trees outside. They give you their oxygen for you to breathe. Feel the sun that lights up the sky and warms the earth. Feel this inside of you now. We're going to invite spirit in through our crowns. We invite the universal life force energy to come through now. Take a deep breath in. Watch as this beautiful energy travels down your body, lighting up every cell as it comes through. And it's going down, down, down through your body and out through your feet. One more time, breathing in this beautiful earth energy, universal life force energy now. In through the top of your crown. Take a deep breath in and watch as it comes down, reminding every cell in your body of the love that it is. It's going down, down, down and out through your feet. One more deep breath now in through your crown of this universal life force energy. And this time as it travels through, watch as your cells dance in delight as they remember the love and the light that they are. Watch as they travel down, down, down and out through your feet. Sit with this beautiful spirit energy inside of you now for a moment. In this moment, Archangel Metatron would like to come forward. If you are comfortable to do so, you may invite him in. We invite you, Archangel Metatron, to stand in front of us. Nope. Archangel Metatron is asking permission to stand inside you. And Archangel Metatron is huge. So if you allow Archangel Metatron to be inside you now, picture yourself in the center of Metatron. Feel the energy inside Metatron. Feel how spacious this energy is. Feel the love that Metatron has for you inside. Feel your heart space expand with this love. Feel yourself expand bigger and wider, and bigger and wider, and bigger and wider. Feel your heart space overflowing with this love. In this moment, there is a column of golden light coming through the top of Metatron, and it's slowly coming down into the top of you and through you down into the bottom of Metatron and into the earth. This column of golden light that's coming in through the top is a direct connection to God. In this moment we ask God, please God, show us how to be the unconditional love in every moment. Teach us how to be unconditional love, to be love without conditions, to accept others as they are, without them needing to be something that they're not. Loving without conditions. Show us how to accept things as they are, not how we want them to be, not how we think they should be. Love without conditions. To see things as they are, and in seeing things as they are, seeing the gift that is in every moment, seeing the love that we are gifted in every moment, through every experience, through every person that we come in contact with. Assist us, God, in seeing the gift in every moment. Assist us in seeing the blessing. In this moment, God, we wish to thank you for this life. We wish to thank you for this opportunity that we've been given to be here, to have this human experience. We thank you for giving our soul free will, that we got to choose whatever experience we wanted to have. You are supporting us in every moment for the experience that we chose to have, and for this we are grateful. Allow us in this moment, God, to feel your love in our heart, that it may stay with us always, that we may remember always that this is who we are. We are this love. In this moment, Metatron, we ask you for a symbol of this conversation that we've had with God and you today. A symbol that reminds us when we forget. May this symbol appear to remind us that we are unconditional love. This is who we truly are. Love without conditions. We don't need others to be something for us to be this love. We don't need anything from others for us to be this love. We don't need others to change for us to be this love. Show us how to be this love in every moment. The love that sees only love in everything. Teach us, God, to see the world as you see it. Teach us to see others as you see them. Teach us to see the divinity that is in all things, because it is all you. There is nothing else. Remind us in every moment that it is you when we forget. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If you are comfortable to do so, God would like to kiss you on the forehead and bless you today for being here, for opening your heart, for remembering that you are this unconditional love. All right, my beautiful beings, we give thanks to God today and to Metatron for being present for this beautiful meditation. When you are ready, you may open your eyes. Or if you're happy to, you can sit in this state until you are ready to get on with your day. We love you dearly, and we pray that Metatron and God have touched your heart today. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.